Stephen King, I think, is a real touchstone for a lot of people because it was our first, and this was certainly true for me, our first foray into the macabre. You know, in the days of Edgar Allan Poe, young people probably read under the covers with their candles or their well, they wouldn't have had flashlights back then, but a candle by the bedside reading The Telltale Heart or The Pit and the Pendulum. And then after that, it became someone like H.P. Lovecraft. And there's always been, generationally, a writer of horror fiction that kind of becomes the standard bearer for the genre. What's interesting about Stephen King is that he always sets his horror in very familiar places and with very familiar characters, and he peoples his stories, and Misery is no exception, with people that we relate to. And he is a master of kind of touching on zeitgeist and pop culture, so that as a kid, when you're reading something like The Stand, and there are references to known rock musicians in this horrible story about a world plague and some supernatural elements that happen in it, you're also getting a healthy dose of someone who has his finger on the pulse of popular culture, of music, a kind of pastiche of all of these different elements that he puts into the story to make it fully relatable. And what's more unsettling, I can't think of anything more unsettling than relating to, because you recognize a town, a person, a personality, a reference to a song inside a story that is so bizarre and so horrifying that it kind of collapses your world onto the world of the horror. So I think what makes Stephen King a great writer, and The Shining, of course, is another famous one, Carrie, an early book of his, is that he's able to give us something that is unbelievable, scientifically, physically, in the world of physics and, you know, the supernatural, and make it not only plausible, but relatable in frightening ways. He even asks us sometimes to relate to and either sympathize with or identify with his most horrifying creations of psychopaths and monsters and the villains of his stories.